Now it's going to be a Salt and Pepper movie. I mean, it's like, what's love got to do with it? Was a great movie, but it wasn't our story.
So you said the book, she said things that were untrue from your perspective.
Definitely.
Because I got two sides. I got two people that I love, and then one side says this, the other says this.
What did you learn from your first marriage?
She wanted to wear pants and a dress. I'm gonna be, let's be here. You ain't, hey, she talking to me like a dude. I'm like, yo. Because she'll follow you right off a cliff.
Hold on.
You might do it.
Don't pour shit.
Go.
I don't trust that.
Go.
I don't trust that.
Egypt.
Rapper Treach by Naughty by Nature, and his daughter that he had in a relationship with Peppa from the iconic rap duo Salt and Peppa, being that they were kind of in the media pretty recently, and there has been some things that have happened and transpired after said situation. So I'm going to use them as a bouncing board to have this conversation. And of course, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and my feelings, my opinions on this entire situation. Now, of course, as we know, Treach from Naughty by Nature and Peppa from Salt and Pepper were that, couple goals back in the day, right? Like they were like that rap, OG rap, original rap, power couple, if you will. And the two of them ended up having one child together, which is their daughter Egypt, who happened to be on the show Growing Up Hip Hop.
Mom's Peppa from Salt and Pepper, and my father is Treach from Naughty by Nature.
Egypt ended up, getting into a whole relationship while on the TV show. Treach, of course, being her father, had his own feelings and opinions about said relationship.
Egypt is your ride or die, right? And it might be to a fault. Because she'll follow you right off a cliff.
And, he eventually was like, you're grown, you do what you want to do, you do your own thing. And he kind of just let it be from there.
Never ever step in between you and Egypt at all, but y'all, she loves you, you love her. Once you get into a situation where y'all are taking it steps further, it's none of my business like that. Like I said, as long as she's safe, everything else.
She ended up getting married to him and having 2 children with him. Now, a couple of months ago, Egypt ended up going viral for starting her, boxing career, in which she was trying to get into the ring with the likes of rapper Chrisean Rock.
Y'all, I'm here making this video because I heard that Chrisean Rock is fighting for X-Rumble and is looking for an opponent, and said that Jesus would give her a worthy opponent when it's time. Well, I'm also a child of God, and I believe that I am that opponent that's more than worthy enough to step in the ring with you.
The backhand hook. Looks like some bruising on the arm, so if Jay, she just clubbed. You're knocked out of the air!
Rapper Treach told his daughter she'd follow her husband right off a cliff. Deion Sanders told his daughter something just as direct years before her relationship even fell apart. Now you think 2 completely different fathers from 2 completely different worlds would lead to 2 different complete outcomes. But it played out the exact same way both times. And that should tell you something about why daughters don't listen even when they should. Even when the father has a relationship with them. Now, if someone who loves you has ever warned you about a relationship before you really understood why, family, this message that we can learn from this today is for you. 2 fathers, Treach and Deion Sanders, each warned their daughters about a relationship that turned out exactly the way they said it would. Both daughters ignored the warning, and both situations became public in ways neither of them could undo. By the end of this video, it is my desire and my hope and prayer that you'll know exactly what separates a daughter who listens to her father's warnings from a daughter who has to learn the same lesson the hard way in public. What if the difference has nothing to do with how messy or peaceful your parents' relationship was, and everything to do with whether you're willing to trust someone who actually lived through what you're about to walk into? I've heard women say over and over, a man can't tell me nothing. I'm not going to listen to a man. Family, I hope you can see that that is a detriment to our women, to our family, to our community. If you are not willing to listen, you're not willing to grow, you're not willing to learn, and you are not going to be able to avoid mistakes that could be avoided if you used a little wisdom and listened to someone that has some life experience that loved you. Now, before either of these situations became public, both fathers had already said something directly to their daughters. Treach told Egypt years ago that she would follow her husband right off a cliff. Deion Saunders has a long history of trying to steer his daughter, Deandra, away from public relationship drama, including a moment caught on camera where he told her that the greatest gift he has is the ability to walk away. Here's the thing about warnings like these. Neither father was guessing. Both of them had lived through versions of this exact pattern themselves, which is why they recognized it the moment it started forming. Some people would say a father's opinion about his daughter's relationship is just bias. Any man is going to find something wrong with whoever is in him. That's fair in some cases, family, but not in all. But these weren't vague complaints about not liking the guy. In either case, Treach named the specific pattern he saw forming on camera before anything had gone wrong yet. Deion sat his daughter down the first time she introduced the relationship to the family and told her exactly how he felt about it. Neither one waited until afterwards to say he told her so. He said it first while there was still time to change course. A warning given before something goes wrong is worth more than the same warning given after. It means the person giving it actually saw something real instead of reacting to a mess that already happened. But seeing it coming and stopping it turned out to be two very different things because both daughters went ahead and did what they were going to do anyway. The Bible says rebellion is like witchcraft. Egypt stepped into a boxing ring against an Olympic level fighter with almost no real training, and the result was a televised knockout that millions of people watched. Around the same window of time, Deandra Sanders had her own public unraveling, posting a string of emotional messages online, admitting that she ignored every warning about her relationship with the singer, Jaquez. In both cases, the daughter said almost the same thing once it was already too late. Egypt insisted no one controls her and no one makes her do anything she doesn't want to do. Deandra wrote that she was so in love she ignored every single warning and that her own family tried to tell her. Both of them are right that the decision was theirs to make. Nobody forced either one of them into anything. Here's where it gets uncomfortable, family. Both outcomes confirm the exact thing the fathers warned about, which means the warning was never really about control to begin with. It was just a loving father trying to prevent, trying to keep their daughters from having to buy a lesson. My mother used to always say, though, bought lessons are better than none at all. But they didn't have to buy this lesson through their own downfall or experience. But anyway, it was about a pattern the fathers had already seen play out. Some people will argue this is unfair to the daughters, that everyone has a right to make their own mistakes and learn their own way. That's true, but not always necessary. But here's the difference between learning a lesson privately and learning it in front of millions of strangers who already know how the story ends before you do. When the same warning gets ignored and the same outcome happens anyway, that's not bad luck. That's a pattern, doing exactly what the person who warned you said it would do. And what both fathers did next is the part that actually matters most. After the knockout, Treach didn't disappear. He posted an open letter to his daughter that was protective and direct at the same time. These are the kind of fathers we need to applaud, family. After the tweets, Deion Sanders responded too, telling his daughter to give it to God and keep moving instead of sitting alone in what he called a pity party. Neither father used the moment to say he told you so and walk away. Both of them used it to step back in. That's the part of this story people miss the most. Everybody wants to argue about whether the fathers were right. The bigger point is that they showed up again after being right instead of disappearing into the satisfaction of having called it. Deandra eventually said it herself on camera, Daddy might be right.
What did your daddy say about this relationship?
My family is the type where they're going to support whatever I want to do.
Okay,
he's going to say how he feels, like he said how he felt in the beginning when I first introduced him to it. You know, that's between me and my daddy. But I want to say now, Daddy, you might was right.
And here's what makes this worth paying attention to. Deion's first marriage to Deandra's mother was never even a toxic one. There was no nasty public divorce in that part of the story. Even her own mother said she tried to give Deandra the same warning, and she still didn't listen. And we know we've all been there. We've all been there where you know everything, you know better than your parents, can't nobody tell you nothing. So you go make these crazy, wild mistakes, and then you gotta pick up the pieces yourself. And then you gotta tuck your tail. It's embarrassing. But family, we have to learn when somebody loves us to listen. If your father is present in your life, please value that. It's priceless. The reason so many women have the mindset that they have now in society, where no one can tell them anything and their lives are not going well, is because they didn't have fathers. They didn't have anyone to guide them. So please, if you have a father in your life, listen. Please listen. So this was never really about whether your parents' relationship was messy or peaceful. Somebody might argue that grown women don't need their fathers weighing in on their relationships at all. Okay. But this was never about needing permission. It's about whether you're willing to trust someone who already lived through the exact thing you're about to walk into. Whether you got the wisdom to listen before you have to learn it the hard way yourself. A father who keeps showing up after he's already been right isn't trying to control you. He's trying to save you time, pain, and an audience of strangers watching you learn the lesson he already knew. Here's a lesson underneath both of these stories. The people who already walked through something don't need you to repeat their mistakes just to prove you can think for yourself. I'm going to say that again. The people who already walked through things don't need you to repeat their mistakes just to prove you can think for yourself. Listening to wisdom before the consequences land isn't weakness. That's wisdom and discernment. Spiritually, this is the practice of seeking counsel before you act, not after you're already standing in a fire. There is safety in wise counsel, and there is pain in walking alone. Mentally, it means learning to separate what you feel from what's actually true in front of you. Neither of these women were foolish. They were in love, and love can convince you that what you feel is more reliable than what you can clearly see. Strength isn't ignoring your feelings. It's refusing to let your feelings outvote the truth. Can I say that again, family? We let our feelings outvote the truth. We have to refuse to let that happen in the future. And physically, in real world, ignoring wisdom always costs you something. It's always a consequence. For Egypt, it cost her an actual blow to the body in front of millions of people. For Deandra, it cost her months of unraveling in public in real time for the whole world to watch. Wisdom is rarely free to reject. If this gave you something to think about, like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and leave a thoughtful comment below. You'll find the link to the clips in the description box below. I'm Deborah, and this is Family Still Matters. Because the wisdom we refuse to receive from the people who love us is usually the same wisdom God is trying to get to us in the first place. Thank you for watching. Before I let you go, I want to leave you with the word that this entire conversation kept bringing me back to. Proverbs 11 verses 14 says, "Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counsels, there is safety." May God richly bless you. God bless.